There have been some recent incidents, Snape said with an icy whisper and a pointed stare at Lavender, that have caused the Board of Governors to re-evaluate the school's curriculum. So instead of potions, today I will be instructing you on the matters of reproduction. He grimaced like he had something foul caught in his nostrils. He tapped his wand against the side of the desk and posters popped out of nowhere of detailed diagrams of genitalia. "Blimey!" Ron blurted out, gripping the front of the desk as his eyes went wide. A wave of giggles rolled through the classroom. Snape rolled his eyes. "Try to control yourself and pay attention, Mr. Weasley. It may be a while before you have another opportunity to study some," he remarked with his trademark sneer as he gestured at the diagram of breasts. Ron turned bright red and shrank down in his desk while Malfoy struggled to contain his... "We will begin with a lesson concerning the genitalia." He rapped his wand against the detailed cross-section of the penis. "Can anyone name the parts of the male anatomy depicted here?" he asked the class. The room was so silent you could have heard a pixie's whisper. "Oh, no answers to volunteer for once, Miss Granger?" His mouth twisted into the closest thing he had to a smile, but still cruel and heartless. Hermione bit her lip. She looked like she was about to cry. He was taking an inordinate amount of pleasure in humiliating the Gryffindors today. "Very well," he continued. "Get out your quiddles." After a long lecture on anatomy that resulted in quite a few uncomfortable pauses and hurried glances between members of the opposite sex, the topic turned to the subject of sexually transmitted diseases. "There are a number of afflictions that you all should watch out for. These can be naturally occurring, such as dragon's breath, which gives an uncomfortable rash, as well as the hex-based ailments that can be afflicted by a jilted lover, including Cupid's curse and cauldron rot." "Probably a common affliction for potions masters," Ron whispered. Harry couldn't help but snort, and Snape was looming suddenly over them like a bat. 50 points from Gryffindor," he said slowly, seething with anger and grinding his teeth between each pause. Ron had evidently struck a bit too close to home. "Worse than the diseases, though," he continued, "are the attempted cures. I've seen many a foolish student," he glanced at Neville and raised his thin black eyebrows, "think that they could simply charm away a bad case of dungeon boils, only to find themselves in the hospital wing having Madame Pomfrey apply some particularly unpleasant creams to some particularly sensitive areas." Neville looked positively sick at the thought. From there, the lecture turned to pregnancy. "Prevention is most important," Snape said emphatically. "Though legal, there are certain sects of the wizard community who find it distasteful, shall we say, to not carry to term. The ladies of the room can prevent pregnancy with a simple potion, which I shall pass out instructions for all of you to brew. But for the boys in the room," he produced a small paper packet from his pocket, "these are known as condoms." He tore it open, and a bright purple patch of rubber danced out of the package and hopped onto the table, slowly inflating. Snape looked at it with disdain as it swirled around in a circle and lunged at Snape's crotch. "It will simply apply itself," he said as he caught it deftly, and it deflated like a worm in his hand. "But be forewarned, if it has turned black, it has expired." "Snape's probably used to them matching the rest of his wardrobe," Ron whispered again. Hermione had to use a silencio charm on Harry to prevent him from bursting out in laughter. Finally the bell rang and they fled the dungeon classroom as though chased by dragons. "I've got to, go to my locker," Hermione said to her shoes, afraid to look at either of the boys in the face. Ron blushed as he ran down the hallway. Padma and Parvati passed by and both gave Harry a slight wave. "Well done, boy," said a knight in a painting in the hall behind him. "Well done indeed."